Top stories tonight. Federal High Court sacks all NNPP candidates for Kano local government election. Director General of DSS summoned by court over contempt charges in IPOB leaders trial. Medical Union JOHESU declares 7-day warning strike in health sector. And protest rocks Mozambique following ruling party's election victory. A very warm welcome. Thanks for joining us. I'm Felicity Ezewike. A federal high court in Kano has sacked all 44 chairmanship and councillorship candidates of the new Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, for Saturday's local government elections. The ruling was delivered on Friday by Justice Simon Amobida following a case filed by engineer Mohammed Babayo and a faction of the NNPP against the party's leadership. The justice ruled that the Kano State Independent Electoral Commission should accept a new list of candidates submitted by the faction led by the recognized state chairman, Dalhatu Shehu Usman, in accordance with the party's constitution. He further instructed that the CANSEC must recognize the list of candidates submitted by the plaintiffs. In the meantime, the Kano State High Court has granted the Kano State Independent Electoral Commission, CANSEC, the authority to proceed with the local government elections scheduled for Saturday, nullifying all attempts by political parties to stop the exercise. Justice Sanusi Maiji, presiding over the case on Friday, rules that CANSEC is empowered by the Constitution to conduct, supervise, and oversee local government elections across the 44 local government areas in Kano. The case was brought by CANSEC against the All Progressive Congress, APC, and 13 other political parties. Justice Maiji held that any effort to obstruct the process would be deemed null and void. The judge also called on security agencies to ensure the protection of lives and property during the election. To get some reaction to this development, we're joined by the National Publicity Secretary, New Nigeria People's Party, Ladipo Johnson. Ladipo, thank you for joining us. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the last time we spoke, you said there were no factions in the NNPP, but the ruling today seems to indicate otherwise. So again, let's confirm, are you with the Shehu Usman, in whose favor the court ruled, instructing INEC to accept a new list of candidates?
Good evening, and thanks for having me. As far as we know, there are no factions within the NNPP. The Federal High Court judgment procured is a farce. The judgment you just said took place today is a farce. It is a joke. It is preposterous. That judge had before him another judgment, a previous judgment of the Federal High Court, Abuja, that stated that this same plaintiff, his name was there on page 35, 36 of that judgment, is not a member of the NNPP. I swore to that affidavit, annexing the judgment of Honorable Justice Wike of the Federal High Court, Abuja. This judge, whatever his name is, totally ignored all those things. Obviously, he was hell-bent on trying to stop that election. And then, possibly when he heard that the Kano State High Court, which is the court that has jurisdiction, has said that the election should go on, he now says that someone who is not a member of the party has a list of candidates that were did not go through any primaries, and he's saying they should install them. Unfortunately, people like this, judges like this, cause us lawyers to lose faith in the judiciary. And there are words that I want to use that I cannot use. Because
we appreciate the restraint. However, I must ask, does your objection invalidate the court ruling? Or do you believe the other court ruling invalidates this?
Excuse me, ma'am. The ruling is to no effect. In fact, he's taking the case on that point is an abuse of court process. Because he had before him evidence of the fact that his learned brother of the Federal High Court in Abuja had said that the current plaintiff there was not a member, is not a member of the NNPP. Now, they have it on appeal. They appealed that judgment. It hasn't come up yet. There's no stay to it. So that means that it is an abuse of court process.
All right, be that as it may. Be that as it may.
No, you can't tell me. Look, excuse me.
The elections.
When you say let me say something.
Okay.
Let me just say something. You see, that is the typical Nigerian thing. We say, be that as it may, you should obey it pending the appeal. When the judge himself, as a recalcitrant person, went ahead to cause chaos because it's intentional, what he has done. Now, the effect of that, let me tell you, is that he's saying that, okay, NNPP has no candidates because he knows that the election will still go on. And unfortunately, that's not what
I think that's the pertinent part of the question. That's the pertinent part I'd also like you to clarify. The state and the court are insisting that the elections are going. So which list are you going with to the election? Will NNPP be participating?
NNPP, under Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, under the national chairmanship of Ajuji Ahmed, is going on because it is the only NNPP recognized by INEC. This is judicial rascality at its highest. And we will call it out. I'm ready to go anywhere.
Okay.
It's rascality. He has allowed his courts to be used as a theater to stage a comical play. The producer of the play is the APC. The director of the play is the APC. But we are not actors in this nonsense that has to stop in this country. Look at what is happening in River State.
I know the ruling.
A peaceful state like Kano, and we will reject it.
Ladipo, I know this is a very controversial moment, these two court rulings coming in on the same day. However, there is a body that's responsible for conducting elections, and that's INEC. What are they saying to you? Are they saying that they will go with the list
INEC
that they already have?
Say anything. Let me just tell you quickly. INEC do not need to say anything. INEC have given the voters register to the Kano State Electoral Commission, because they know that they are the ones to do it. And then you now have this chap in a federal high court jumping in to come and cause chaos for a local government election. So please, it is a joke. Don't even let us think about it. He's a joker.
All right. Well, we'll have to leave it here for now. Thank you, as always, for speaking with us. Staying with local government matters, a federal high court in Abuja has rejected the request by River State government to stay proceedings in a suit seeking to stop allocation of funds to all the local government areas in the state. In a ruling on Friday, Justice Joyce Abdul-Malik held that the application for stay made by a lawyer to the government of River State was frivolous, vexatious, unwarranted, and mischievous. The ruling was given during Friday's proceedings in a suit by the Rivers State House of Assembly and Martin Amaule. The plaintiffs are seeking, among others, to compel the Central Bank of Nigeria to withhold financial allocations to LGAs in Rivers State. In the meantime, Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, says only a constitutional amendment can grant the 37 local council development areas the same status as local government areas. The LCDAs were created by President Bola Tinubu in 2003 when he was governor of Lagos State. Last week, the Lagos State House of Assembly moved to replace the LCDAs with newly designated administrative areas. The bill, which outlined the structure of local governance, states that Lagos will operate through democratically elected local governments. According to the bill, Lagos will recognize 20 local government areas as outlined in the 1999 Constitution. Let's get some perspective on this. We're joined now by legal practitioner Valerian Wadike. Valerian, it's good to have you on the news. For someone who is not a Lagosian, please explain the distinction between the LCDAs and LGs.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, the LGA is recognized in the Constitution. The LCDA is alien to the Constitution. LGA is local government area. LCDA is something governors or House of Assembly of a state creates, to replace or to act like local government area, which shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. I would say that because the Constitution have already granted local government, House of Assembly of States, rights to so create local government areas, LGA, by virtue of Section 8.3 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Now, what House of Assembly of States, what they do is they comply with Section 8.3, which vested in them the powers to create local government area. However, they do not conclude or comply strictly with those provisions because aside Section 8.3 of the Constitution, which vested in them that power, there is also Section 8, subsection 5 and 6, which now directs them that after they have so created this LGA, they will go to National Assembly to submit the name of this new LGA and its headquarters. So that National Assembly in turn will list them in the Constitution. But for them to be listed, there obviously have to be a constitutional amendment. So what they now do is they change the acronym or they change the name to LCDA, Local Council Development Area, or so for some people, Development Area, which is alien to the Constitution, but they allow such creation to function as a local government. So what the Speaker said is a welcome development because LCDA has nothing to do with our Constitution. Every local government in Nigeria is recognized in the Constitution, even though they have been given powers, House of Assembly, to so create local government areas, not LCDA. They go ahead to create something else, LCDA, complying or deriving powers from Section 8.3 without, concluding the creation process, which is submitting the name of the local government to be created to National Assembly for it to be listed and recognized by the Constitution.
The Speaker just said, what you say just aligns with what the Speaker said, that only a constitutional amendment will grant these council areas the legality of LGAs. But then again, someone would wonder, what has been the difference? How has these LCDAs and LGAs been able to operate for so long, since 2003, in Lagos State without conflict? And why now is there a push to maybe make these LCDAs LGs?
Well, I would suspect that it could be because of the recent Supreme Court judgment, which has granted local governments autonomy. Now, with that, LCDAs, I don't think they will receive any allocation because the allocation will go directly to the local governments that the Constitution have recognized. So there is no need for those LCDAs to so function because they may likely not be seeing any sort of allocation. So instead of they staying in nullity, the right thing have to be done, which is using them back originally where they belong, which is local government area, constitutionally recognized.
All right, just one more quickly before we go. What's your take on the proposed local government administration bill? I mean, this conversation came up at a public hearing to fine-tune it.
You know, the problem we have in Nigeria is not about laws. It's about implementation of the laws. I don't have any issue with local government administration bill. I don't have any issue with anything that has to do with local government autonomy. But what I want to state clearly is that the Constitution is already clear and it has made provisions for local government areas and it has created its function or their function. So what should be obtainable is for Nigerians in the grassroots to feel the autonomy. There's no need to create new bills and let us implement the one that is already existing. Since 1999, I don't think I have seen a sincere local government autonomy. So if we can implement the judgment of the Supreme Court the later, I believe that the people in the grassroots will feel more the impact of government and governance in their localities.
Thank you as always for the insight.
Thank you. God bless you.
Coming up, Director General of DSS summoned by court over contempt charges in IPOB leaders' trial. That's after the break. Do join us again. If you've just joined us, you're watching Tonight. A reminder of our top stories. Federal High Court sacks all NNPP candidates for Kano local government election. Director General of DSS summoned by court over contempt charges in IPOB leaders' trial. Medical Union JOHESU declares 7-day warning strike in health sector. And protest rock Mozambique following ruling party's election victory. Thank you for staying with us. Let's now tell you that Federal High Court in Abuja has invited the Director General of the Department of State Services, Adeola Ajayi, to explain why he should not be imprisoned for contempt. The court noted that the DSS failed to comply with an order from Binta Nyako, a Federal High Court judge, which directed that Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, should be allowed access to his legal team 3 times a week. On October 18, the court issued a Form 48 notice of consequences of disobedience to the order of the court against the DSS Director General. The notice warned the DSS boss that he would be guilty of contempt of court and could face imprisonment if he disobeyed the court order visitations. The takeover of the Niger-Delta Ministry by the Ministry of Regional Development, as directed by President Bola Tinubu, continued to spark diverse responses, especially from the Niger-Delta region. New Central's correspondent Austin Azu, who spoke to a cross-section of residents in Delta State, South Nigeria, tells us more now.
The now-defunct Ministry of Niger-Delta Affairs was on September 10, 2008, inaugurated by late President Umaru Yar'Adua, perhaps to address the economic challenges confronting the region and serve as a central authority for consolidating and implementing policies that promote development, peace and security in the Niger-Delta region. Meanwhile, there is ongoing debate regarding the defunct ministry's success in meeting its statutory responsibilities over the years. The federal government has clarified that the then Ministry of Niger-Delta Development, just as the Northwest Development Commission, Northeast Development Commission, and the Southwest Development Commission, are to be under the watch of newly created Ministry of Regional Development. Stakeholders and respondents in the region have expressed opposition to this initiative, claiming that the federal government intends to utilize the South-South oil resources to finance development commissions in other zones.
So for one, I feel that Ministry of Niger-Delta should stay. If they want to scrap or merge any other thing, it should be other ministries, not Ministry of Niger-Delta, because it's a way to change the people of Niger-Delta.
Niger Delta. When we say when he even dey safe, we know the fit drink water, keep cup. Now he won't come out and call a measure with other ministry. But that one die with them now. It just be like say they carry that's a person from fry pan put for fire. That one I finish up now. It don't make sense at all. Make them try, make them know what they go do, make them regulate and back to where he did before.
The way I think it in political affairs, because he is an APC. Then he's trying to pursue PDP in Delta State so that APC will cover everywhere. And the APC regime is not okay, which everybody know.
Others praised President Bola Tinubu's bold initiative to reduce the cost of governance by consolidating all development commissions into a single ministry.
I think the government in its wisdom has looked at it that it is about policies. If in this ministry we begin to have people who, because it's essentially developing regions, and those are what the commissions should do. So all the commissions are now under a ministry that supervises the activity. I think it is okay.
It's the development that matters. It is not whether we have the minister or not, but let the development impact on the people. Let the people see that, yes, the commission is working.
Infrastructural development, environmental protection and empowerment of youth in the oil-rich Niger Delta region are some of the agitations that led to the creation of the then ministry. It remains to be seen how the people of the Niger Delta will accept the new reality. In Asaba for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
Many thanks, Austin. Let's head on now to Kogi State, where farmers and food vendors have raised concerns over the recent flooding in the state, which has impacted several communities, affecting residents' livelihoods. They say the floods have severely damaged locally cultivated crops in low-lying communities, leading to a sharp rise in the cost of foodstuff. Our correspondent, Joshua Imarayi, has the details in this report.
Amina Fatai, a resident of Kogi State, north-central Nigeria, recounts the nightmare that has befallen her family due to the severe flooding that has once again submerged the community. Amina explained that since she and her late husband built their house, they never faced such issues until 2012 when the floods began. She says that over the years, the situation has worsened with the floods in 2022 causing their house to collapse, leading to a tragic chain of events.
This water, they come small. Since this October, now small, they come. Like 1 week ago, now we sleep for inside in the night. You just see and say, don't bust out. Before we pack our load, all our load don't spoil. Year 2022, now we break our house for back. And nothing. Now my husband can't get VP. All my market for they sell, all the money can't finish. Small time, this year, February, now he fall, now he carry and go Shifa, now he can't die.
Yusuf Abdullahi, a pensioner residing in Kogi State, has had to defy the flood water at all costs to get to his home. For more than 25 years, this had been his home, but in the last 12 years, the fear of flooding has been a source of concern.
We've been here for over 25 years now, and the first experience we had was in 2012. That came unannounced, and almost half of the estates here was submerged. And since that, at intervals, it comes. Sometimes we don't park, sometimes we park. And it kept coming almost every 2 years. So it's been a very bad experience.
It seems that each time the floods come, government agencies advise residents like him to move to the designated internally displaced persons camp, a decision which is not easy to bear.
Where we are currently is what used to be the banks of River Niger. This place used to be farmlands to some of the Kogi residents whose homes have been affected by the flooding. Unfortunately, the situation now here is dire as his place has been sacked by the flooding.
At the internally displaced persons camp located at St. Luke's Primary School at Dankolo in Lokoja, the capital of Kogi State, people like Hawa Abib and Aliu Abdul Malik have sought refuge, despite the less than ideal conditions. In the wake of severe flooding that has swept through parts of Kogi State, local farmers have been left reeling from the devastation on their farmlands, which have been submerged by rising water levels. The situation has been particularly dire for rice farmers in the Bangede area of the state, as they have seen their crops, livelihoods, and months of hard work affected.
My own personal loss is up to 3 million because I don't harvest anyone. Because from that after planting, weeding, fertilizer, other things,
So no one have a harvest on it. Flood just come and erase it up.
Waiting water do us no be small too. As we did now, waiting with the chef, now only God now they help us where they take money, they eat, now if not, no be small thing. The cost of rice now, at least where if you get like 20 bag, 30 bag, if you don't go no say it's over 1 point, you don't go with that. So no be small thing.
The recent floods in the Kogi State has not only devastated farmlands, but has also led to a significant increase in food prices at the popular Kpata Market. Local food vendors say they are struggling to cope with the sudden spike in food prices as supplies of locally grown produce have been disrupted by the floods.
Kuma that corner come on 4 market wire pass. It is around 42, 43 a month now. You don't have 53. Rice month now, 3 market wire pass. You know cost now, you don't eat about to 150,000 now. Every now minute now, you don't before minute now new one come now, you don't 100,000 now. Minute why say go buy.
The ripple effects of the flood have been evident on local economy, affecting not just farmers but also traders and residents who rely on locally sourced food. Many of those affected have called on government to rise up to their responsibilities and reach out to those in need of aid. In Lokoja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has urged residents of the territory to put their trust on President Bola Tinubu, saying he is committed to solving Nigeria's myriad of problems. This was during the flag-off of the construction of the aerial roads from the Life Camp district to the Outer Ring Road 3, all within the capital. Amadine Uyi tells us more.
With infrastructural development high on the wish list of the current FCT administration, many believe good roads will improve the livelihoods of residents. Some in Nigeria's political class say the importance of good roads cannot be overemphasized.
The importance of road network to socio-economic development of any nation need not to be overemphasized. Good roads are critical to hinder movement of goods and persons in promoting socio-economic development in any community.
At this flag-off ceremony for the construction of the arterial roads from the Life Camp district within the capital to the Outer Ring Road 3, the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, says that this has been made possible by the support of President Bola Tinubu.
Mr. President is infinite wisdom to make sure that work continues in the FCT. He gave us a latitude by increasing our threshold. Today, you see contracts of schools are going on, contracts of building more police stations to save our people are going on. It's because of the approval given to us by Mr. President.
The Managing Director of Julius Berger, the contractors of the project, and the Executive Secretary of the FCTA gave highlights of the project. The Minister of State of the FCT also reviewed the importance of the road to citizens.
The road, over approximately 4.4 kilometers, inclusive of box culverts, 1 river bridge, and the road junction at N5 and 30, will be delivered within 18 months construction time, and Julius Berger will deliver as promised.
This road as an arterial is a 6-lane arterial with 3 lanes on either way, dual carriageway. And we are expecting that this road is going to provide the much needed relief to the Old Kefi Road right behind us, which connects this Life Camp junction up to Day.
This arterial road will not only enhance connectivity, but also promote economic growth and improve the quality of life of our residents.
The Minister of the FCT urged residents of the capital to put their trust on the President, saying he's committed to solving Nigeria's myriad of problems.
But I can tell you, before the end of this administration of Mr. President, Nigerians will smile. We will never do anything that we know will not work. I know he means business. I know he's committed. The only problem we have, you must also ask yourself, these problems have been there for donkey years.
He also urged the contractors to reduce the completion time of the road from 18 months to 14 months, saying its quick completion time is important to the administration. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
Residents of Ayetoro and Okobaba waterside communities are still reeling from the devastating aftermath of the September 15 demolition by the Lagos State government. On the said day, hundreds of residents of these communities were abruptly displaced. Some of them narrated their struggles to News Center's Igbalani Omoni as he captured the response of civil society group and the Lagos State government's relocation plans. His report.
23-year-old Zainab Balogun and a 7-month-old baby are one of the many families who are still relieving the horror of the displacement at Ayetoro and Okobaba waterside communities in Lagos State on September 15 this year.
There's so many things inside. Including my phone too is inside.
Ní àárọ̀ ọjọ́ Sunday, bá ṣe jí báyìí, àti ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ fẹ́ brush ni. Àkọ́dé lára àwọn ọlọ́pàá yẹn kọ́ tòde ni, gbogbo àti ẹ̀kọ́ sá pé kí ló dé tí àwọn ọlọ́pàá jí pẹ̀lú bọn lọ́wọ́. Within 5 minutes báyìí, wọ́n yìí bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí sọnù sí first thing ṣọ́ọ̀bù mi wọ́n sọnù sí àrí bí a tún sá kàtó ìdílé bí a fẹ́ lọ kẹ́rù mi yàrá náà tó sọnù sí. Ogun kan wọ́n ṣá ti bàjẹ́ ṣá. Mo ìwà yìí mo kódà Ọlọ́run nìkan ló ní mi. Aṣọ yìí gan-an fún mi ni. Ọtí ni mò ń ta. Gbogbo kírètì ọtí mi ti jó, freezer mi ti jó, jẹ́ mi ti jó. Ta là ń sùn sí o. Nílé mo lówó tí màá fi gbálé fún wa, jọ́ ń sùn síta nígbà dídí lálẹ́ báyìí. Ẹ̀rọ wà níbi under bridge ẹ̀ńbẹ̀ là ń sùn sí.
Adebayo and many others were unprepared for the scene that greeted them in the early hours of that fateful September. Families were started awake by the jarring noise of massive bulldozers and excavators demolishing buildings in the waterside communities within the Abuja area of Yaba Local Government Development Authority in Lagos State.
The way that they pass kidnapper or which everything we Nigeria don't experience is very bad experience.
What you go believe me? Mi ko ti mo se mo pe mo sha mo pe kò sẹ́yàn kan tó tẹ̀lé wá síwájú mi pé kí n dìbò kí n dé tẹ̀ka be mi ṣe wà yìí nítorí èmi àti ọmọ márùn-ún ìta là ń sùn.
In the aftermath, non-governmental organizations like Sea Hope have been providing critical support to affected families, focusing on the right and welfare of vulnerable children and families. It aims to establish a network of victims to resist future demolitions and advocate for due process.
We have to go beyond the episodic response to this problem. We have to see how we coordinate.
When it comes to a question of development, they are not talking about development for the point of view of meeting the needs of every one of us. What they mean by development is to establish a safe place for those who are rich to be able to enjoy their lives. Yes. And that is why, when you look at what is happening in Lagos State now, under 1 hour, if rain falls, everywhere will be filled up with water. But how do you explain a co-Atlantic city? It is the same way that electricity exists if you are a band A person, as sufferers of these iniquities of these our leaders. We need to have an understanding that we do not just need to fight and resist, but we also need to begin to discuss among ourselves what kind of development, what kind of society, what kind of future do we need.
You can give these people adequate notice to get their lives together, move to better location. You can relocate them, you can compensate them, because being poor does not necessarily mean being below subhuman.
The Lagos State government has issued a final 3-month relocation order affecting not only homeowners but also timber merchants.
It's not about demolition, it's about the welfare of an average citizen of Nigeria.
As the affected communities navigate this difficult period and seek intervention, they say it remains essential to prioritize their well-being and ensure that their rights are respected. In Lagos for News Central, I am Igbalani Omoni.
To health matters, members of the Joint Health Sector Unions and Assembly of Healthcare Professionals, JOHESU, have declared a 7-day warning strike commencing from midnight on Friday. The latest strike comes after a 15-day notice of industrial action issued to the federal government. While addressing journalists in Abuja, the national chairman of the union, Kabiru Minjibi, listed some of its demands. They include the immediate implementation of the consolidated health salary structure, payment of a 25% review of its arrears from June to December 2023, upward review of retirement age for health workers, tax waiver on healthcare workers' allowances, and the immediate payment of COVID-19 inducement hazard allowance, among other demands. The body is asking all its members across the country to comply with the directive. Still ahead, protests rocked Mozambique after ruling party's victory. That's next after the break. Stay with us. Mozambique's capital, Maputo, awoke to wreckage on Friday as protests overnight turned violent following the ruling party Frelimo's re-election after 49 years in power. Hundreds of opposition supporters demonstrated, rejecting what they called a ballot stolen by a corrupt electoral commission, which on Thursday announced that Frelimo's candidate, Daniel Chabo, had won the October 9 election with 71% of the vote. As the election authority, widely accused of acting in the ruling party's favor, was announcing the results, crowds gathered in multiple cities. Protests escalated, with rioters setting fire to tires to block avenues in Maputo and scaling Frelimo's election billboards and destroying them. Some also threw stones at riot police, who fired tear gas to disperse them. Let's join our business desk now for today's business update.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
The National Bureau of Statistics plans to rebase Nigeria's Consumer Price Index, Gross Domestic Product, and Nigeria Living Standards Survey to align economic data with current realities. At a press briefing in Abuja, Statistician General and CEO of NBS, Adeyemi Adeniran, announced that the rebasing would occur in November. He explained that this adjustment is essential to account for Nigeria's economic shifts, providing a more accurate reflection of the economy's position and composition. Rebasing the GDP and CPI will enhance growth measurement accuracy, support more effective policy making, and increase the credibility of Nigeria's economic data, both locally and internationally. The World Bank is currently grappling with a daunting combination of sluggish economic growth and overwhelming debt. Vera Davis de Sousa, Angola's finance minister, recently shed light on the lingering impact of past decisions as a major contributor to the debt woes plaguing sub-Saharan Africa.
We need to keep working and building trust. And leverage all the positive movement that came from that moment. During that period, we managed to close a bilateral agreement with some creditors. We had the DSSI, and we also start building a strong health system. So it was a difficult moment, but it came with opportunities.
Heavy rains across Ivory Coast are impacting cocoa production, with port counters and exporters reporting a high mortality rate in flowers and cereals, that is, small pods that develop into cocoa beans. These teams, monitoring pod growth monthly, noted a survival rate drop to between 60 and 70% in October, compared to a typical 25% earlier in the season. The rains have flooded key cocoa growing areas in the west and southwest, hindering field visits and accelerating pod and flower losses. As a result, production forecasts for the main harvest season, October to March, that is, have been cut from 1.5 million tons to around 1.30 and 1.35 million tons if adverse conditions persist. While current cocoa bean arrivals remain stable, supply is expected to decline significantly from January to April 2025.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
Up next is sports.
Sports update brought to you by Kano. Kano, we go the extra mile.
The Nigerian Army have emerged champions of the first Comptroller General of Customs Military and Paramilitary National Wrestling Championship in Abuja. The three-day tournament had host Customs, the Nigerian Air Force, NSCDC, the Nigerian Police Force, the Nigerian Navy, FRSC, and Nigeria Correctional Service compete in Greco-Roman, men's freestyle and women's freestyle wrestling at the Moshood Abiola Stadium. The Nigerian Army won 14 medals, 9 gold, 4 silver, and 1 bronze to assert their dominance at the championship amongst other military and paramilitary organizations. The Libya Football Federation is reportedly preparing to appeal the expected verdicts from the Confederation of African Football over the botched Africa Cup of Nations qualifying match against the Super Eagles of Nigeria earlier this October. Reports indicate that CAF will make a final decision on the match in the coming days after a series of investigation. Meanwhile, the pilot who flew the chartered flight of the Super Eagles is reportedly being threatened by the Libyan authorities. The flight captain, Abdelatif Mechegi, was presented by Nigeria as a key witness in the CAF hearing following the disrupted October qualifier. President of the Confederation of African Football, Patrice Motsepe, has confirmed his decision to stand as a candidate in the upcoming CAF presidential elections scheduled for March 2025. According to CAF, Motsepe's decision to seek re-election is based on requests from numerous CAF member association presidents, zonal union presidents, and other key stakeholders across African football for him to stand. The 62-year-old was the first black African to be included on Forbes' list of billionaires and, according to the magazine, has a net worth of $3 billion. He has been involved in football since 2003 when he took a stake in South African club Mamelodi Sundowns, eventually buying the club outrightly and spending millions on players to help them become African champions in 2016. He was handpicked by FIFA President Gianni Infantino to run African football after the previous president, Ahmad Ahmad of Madagascar, was banned for corruption. Paris Saint-Germain have again refused to pay Kylian Mbappé 55 million euros in unpaid wages, and they intend to contest the ruling through the courts, having previously insisted they do not owe their former striker anything. A French league committee attempted to mediate the increasingly bitter row between Real Madrid forward Mbappé and the club he left this year. Mbappé has demanded the figure, which he says is made up of the final 3 months of his salary plus several bonuses, but the Qatari-owned PSG argued that the 25-year-old had agreed to waive the sum in August 2023. Diogo Jota will miss Liverpool's Premier League trip to Arsenal on Sunday. This was reported by head coach Arne Slot. The Portuguese forward suffered a rib injury in a collision during last weekend's victory over Chelsea and has not recovered in time to make the journey to the Emirates Stadium. Meanwhile, Bukayo Saka has returned to training for Arsenal ahead of their showdown with the Premier League leaders. The Gunners will be without suspended William Saliba for the visit of Liverpool, while Martin Odegaard is injured, but Arteta refused to rule out Ricardo Calafiori or Julian Timber. League leaders Liverpool are 4 points ahead of third-placed Arsenal. And that's a wrap on Sport Update. I am Udoka Njoko.
Sports Update brought to you by Kano. Kano, we go the extra mile.
Let's bring you the latest in entertainment and trends.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
Tonight on Entertainment News, King Perry has released a vibrant two-pack single titled Confirm Parole, featuring Port Harcourt artist Ajabo Hustlers and Dan Dizzy, along with another track titled Biggie, featuring Psycho YP and K-Styles. Confirm Parole is a playful, boastful anthem showcasing King Perry's Afro dancehall fusion style. The song exudes unapologetic swagger, celebrating their streetwise upbringing and the hustle in Port Harcourt. On the other hand, Biggie, which means problem, shifts the focus to a deeper message, exploring the struggles and ambitions of young Nigerians through a drill-inspired sound. Its heavy bassline and gritty beat amplifies the rawness of the lyrics, addressing the challenges of survival faced by today's youths. Known as Continental Boy, King Perry's unique blend of Afrobeat and dancehall has garnered international recognition since signing with Timaya's DM Records in 2018. His music resonates globally with maintaining a strong connection to his Nigerian roots, making him a significant figure in the Afrobeat and dancehall scenes. Sade Adu has released Young Lion, marking her first new single in 6 years. This heartfelt track comes nearly 15 years after her last album, Soldier of Love, in 2010. Although she has released standalone singles since then, including Spring in the City in 2016 and The Big Unknown in 2018, Young Lion is not attached to any upcoming studio project. In the emotional resonance song, Sade addresses themes of burden and isolation, singing poignant lines that reflect on the struggles faced by her son, Azak Theo Adu, who is transgender. Young Lion is part of a Trancer, a compilation album by the HIV/AIDS relief charity organization Red Heart, aimed at raising awareness for trans and non-binary issues. That's all on Entertainment Tonight.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
And that is all tonight. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Federal High Court has sacked all NNPP candidates for Kano local government election holding tomorrow. Director General of DSS has been summoned by court over contempt charges in IPOB leaders' trial. Medical union JOHESU has declared 7-day warning strike in the health sector. We also brought you news that protests have rocked Mozambique following ruling party's election victory. You can catch up on all the latest stories by watching News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and on YouTube. As always, it's been a pleasure bringing you the news. Thank you for watching. Good night.